E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Natural Health and Wellness. On Wednesdays, we cover Mentoring Our Youth. And on Thursdays, our new show, Ideas Worth Knowing. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. To be able to watch our television show on your favorite device, please go to e360tv.com and download the app for your favorite device. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and donnaguinouard. Along with our hosts, Beata Severin Reed and Emersonbrantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Weda. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. And ladies and gentlemen, if you struggle trying to get your message across, regardless of what it is, I personally use a 6-minute webinar if I'm going to do a presentation where I'm going to speak either in a Zoom call or on a stage or whatever. I also use it when I'm going to make a video about something. I know a friend of mine uses the 6-minute webinar every single time he wants to write a book because it organizes the thoughts. And the 6-minute webinar, what's really beautiful about it, if you're trying to attract a client, your client is listening to you for one reason and one reason only. And that one reason is, hey, is this a person I should be wasting my time with?
Is there a why perfect enough for me to spend my attention and time on it? Absolutely.
Can you solve my problem or my need or help me in my hour of need? That's all they want to know. And the 6-minute webinar, all within 6 minutes. And you tell them that right up front. During this 6-minute presentation, I'm going to share with you 3 proven ways, boom, 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 whatever it might be. You give them the bullet points right up there. And they can decide right then and there if they want to hear any more or they're out of there.
It's like everyone says now, our attention span is worse than a goldfish. And sometimes 6 minutes is all you need.
Yeah, because it does have an introduction, a body, a close, and a call to action all within 6 minutes. Because none of us like to hear these, we see something, we click on it, and they go on for 20 minutes about why they're there. Well, we know why they're there. That's the reason why we're there, right? But the 6-minute webinar, please visit at 6minutewebinar.com. And on our show, we have the opportunity to offer you a 6-minute webinar at a very reduced price. When I say a very reduced price, we will charge you $99 for your very own 6-minute webinar. It takes about an hour and a half for us to go through everything with you, but it's yours to keep. And it's really amazing. And 6-minute webinar, just go to, I'm looking here for the thing, here we go, the 6minutewebinar.com. It was really the most incredible tool that you've ever seen as far as being able to get your message across. This morning, or today on today's show, we're going to be covering about mentoring our youth, and we're going to be talking about time management. But there's one thing I'd like to share with you, Adam. My wife loves birds.
Oh, yeah.
She's got these hummingbird feeders out there, and this morning, there was a whole flock of them out there. And the way they dance around the feeders and all that. And she said, yesterday I put in 4 cups of fluid, the sugar mix that she makes.
The nectar fluid, yeah.
Yeah. And she says, Jim, it's almost gone. And I was kind of curious because they're little bitty guys. And I was, looked up at Hummingbird Central. It's a website, hummingbirdcentral.com, just to look up a little bit about these guys. And it says that their little heart beats at 1,260 times a minute. And I'm thinking, how would they even be able to count that, And their wings, they flap their wings anywhere from 50 to 80 times per second. So they burn up a lot of energy. But what's really amazing is that when they don't fly in flocks. They fly alone when they migrate. And these little guys, they can travel
That sounds
23.
like me
Yeah.
taking the journey to the gym.
Yeah.
Because, relationships or whatever.
Yeah. And they can fly 23 miles in one day. But what's really interesting, when they cross over the Gulf of Mexico, obviously there's no refueling stations there, no places for, a convenience store for them, you might say. They can fly 22 hours nonstop. Those little
That's
birds
longer
are...
than most of the road trips I've ever been on.
Yeah. And the reason I share that particular story with you is because I would say it's safe to say last week we covered a topic called self-discipline. And today we're going to be talking about time management. So I think those little birds know how to discipline themselves, and they definitely know something about time management, don't they?
Oh yeah, I mean just the birds in any capacity. Migration is such a thing that in nature it's natural, it happens, and we don't think about it on a daily basis. I mean, if someone was a bird watcher, of course they'd be thinking about it 24/7 because that's their job.
Yeah.
and taking those beautiful photos of birds.
And I just got a cue. You see right there, it says, please visit Vinney at vinneychopra.com. Vinney Chopra is our guest today. In fact, we're going to be doing a series on Wednesdays because Vinney is a guy that loves to reach out. He loves to help people of all ages, even as people who are young in between the ears. I can say that because I'm 75. I can't say I'm young.
There, Jim.
Yeah, especially in between the ears. And, they told me one time, said it has something to do with intelligence. And I said, what's intelligence? And they says, well, Jim, don't worry about that. And I said, oh, okay, I can handle that. Vinney, welcome to the show, my man. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Jim. Thank you, Adam. It's such a pleasure to be back. And hopefully today we'll be giving some really good points and tricks and talk about the topic, which is very near and dear for anybody, any successful persons.
Oh, yeah.
To make it go, whether it could be young people in the elementary school or junior high or high school or college or a business leader.
You're young in between the ears.
Yes, sir.
Vinny,
Yes, sir.
could you imagine an elementary school
talk
student?
About time management today, just like last week we talked about self-discipline. I hope our audience was able to look at that episode. If you did not, please go back. It was just last week, last Wednesday, 4:00 p.m.
Eastern time.
That it got broadcasted, and please look at that because we'll be doing series of them for the next many weeks and months. So I'm really glad to talk about time management because that's the one thing that is everybody's got the same amount of time, 24 hours. But you know what? I'm looking for a watch which can show me 26 or 30 hours there. I don't know.
Oh my!
Haven't found one.
Speaking about that, Adam just made a comment about something about elementary schools, and this brought to mind about a year and a half or so ago. We did a weekly series on homeschooling. Now, this was back when there was a lot of upset feelings and people mad at the school boards and stuff, but we presented homeschooling in a positive way. And I had Mr. Eric Berg on, and he talked about one of the tremendous advantages of homeschooling is being able to adjust the time management so that you as a parent would know when your child is ready to learn, when they need a break, when they need to come back. And he says that's a tremendous thing about homeschooling because, in a school environment, they can't do that because it would just be, it just wouldn't work. But the point being, his stress, he was stressing the fact that managing the child's time properly. And this is something that we all need to learn. It applies to us on up to the very day we die.
Yeah.
We've got to do something productive. And my watch, oh my goodness, I got to get a new battery. Mine stopped.
Mine's about half past freckle, so
Yeah, there you
I'm gonna
go.
have to go get myself one.
But Vinney, in your life, you've had to demonstrate, not only self-discipline that we covered last week, but also your time, because your time is valuable.
So true,
Yeah.
Jimmy. Everybody's time is valuable if we consciously think about that and see the activities that we are involved in. Are they making me grow? Are they giving me good information, of course? And am I acting so that the results are positive? The results are what I want. Like for the students in the school and all, when we all were growing up, we had to allocate time in studies of different subjects. We, of course, time for play, time for sports, time for eating, of course, and getting ready and all, and time for downtime, which playing games or television. So all these times, 24 and sleep, by the way, good sleep
Oh,
is
the most
very
important.
very important, right? With the youth, with adults, with everybody, like we all say that we need about 7 to 8 hours of sleep, good sleep, so that we can be fresh, so that our body has rested, and we are able to then take on the next day very vigorously with a lot of energy, so that we can accomplish a lot more things. So you're right, time is so essential, and we become a creature of habit. That's what we
Yeah.
talked about last week with the self-discipline, because our thoughts, our actions, our habits are the ones, it takes us so much time every day to do certain things. But we consciously need to talk about and think about how we are spending time.
Yeah, because time management, along with discipline, that is exactly how we control our conscious mind. It really is, because how easy is it for all of us to get distracted when we get a text, or we see an email, or some ad pops up, and it takes us on a mental journey way off course.
Yeah.
And
I actually call that the rabbit hole, and a lot of people already call it that. And it's one of these things that we get trapped in sometimes, especially on social media, which, if you know, is one of the biggest time consumers of everything else out there at the moment, especially in our youth, especially in our education system. That's why the teacher wants you to put your phone down when you should be, instead of texting that boyfriend of yours or girlfriend, who knows. But the best part about it is that some of those rabbit holes are actually positive, and some of those rabbit holes are extremely negative for you. Now, I would say, if you're going into that route, you could find yourself in some metalworking videos or some time management videos, and it all really depends on what you decide to search. And it's a great point to bring up about going down these parts that we try to dig up every day, and we don't know what to
The key thing too is we need to train our brain, and also train our brain to take a moment to rejoice when we have little bitty wins in our life.
Yes.
That is huge, because Vinney, I know that from your background and all, you had, your story is amazing. You came here as a young man with less than $7 in your pocket, and And Adam, he got a free helicopter ride. I haven't been able to pull that one off yet, And for you folks out there in TV land that might have missed it last week, I was going to just give the condensed version because he flew here from India. I was going to visit with his aunt and uncle, I believe.
Yes.
And he had less than $7 in his pocket when he came here on the 28th of December, 1975. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Yeah. And I'm going to let you pick up the story from there because you were the eyewitness. I'm not.
It's a very interesting story, and I talk about it in my positivity book also. Positivity Brings Profitability, my book that I wrote on Amazon. No, what you're saying, Jim, is so right. I was a young boy, and I came here to study, right, MBA at George Washington. So my thinking was, get it done, right? And we're talking about time management. So I come to LaGuardia Airport, and they say my next flight from LaGuardia, New York Airport, going to Washington, D.C. is canceled. They're on strike, unbeknownst to me. I didn't know that, So the counter people, they said, sir, we don't have a flight going, I said, I don't know what to do. My uncle and aunt, I have no telephone, no nothing. I don't even know their phone number, how to reach them, and they're going to be expecting. So I was persistent, is the word. I kept on talking to them and say, I got to get there. Then they tried to look through schedules. They found a flight leaving from Newark, New Jersey, across from LaGuardia, and it was leaving within 35 or 45 minutes, something like that. They said, we have to get you there within 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And the only way we could get you there is through a helicopter ride. I said, what? I have never been on a helicopter. You say, yeah, no, you'll be safe, everything. It'll be just the pilot and you, and they got me, they took me there. And here, this little boy just came from 15 or 17 hours of flight, from India to here. It takes that long. And now I'm in a helicopter. This is 6 o'clock, 6:38 in the evening. And I'm looking underneath there, all the beautiful water and the lights and the bridges of New York. I said, man, am I in heaven or what? So that was the story, I shared with Jim and Emerson, last week. So essentially, what I would take away from that is that for anybody, young, old, everybody, be persistent. If we get focused, if we say some things which are very important to us, if we say that enough times, solutions come out.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I read recently somewhere in Captains and Kings, it's a book I've been reading recently. There is one thing that every person in the world has, and it's this beautiful curiosity.
Yes.
That we all share together of interest, and what that is to us youth is be interested in everything. And I'll tell a short story. So there was a man with a big fat cigar in his mouth, and he takes out the cigar and he looks at this young kid in front of him, and he goes, well, do you want a job? And the kid goes, well, I would only be interested in farming. The man, pulls that cigar back in, takes that big whiff and pulls out, and he goes, no, I don't want you to work for me. And the kid goes, well, why not? Why wouldn't you want me to work for this specific thing? And the guy goes, because you're not interested in what I need you to do. And thus creates that mentorish boundary between getting an actual job and maybe what you didn't know you could do versus what you want to do and not getting it at all. And that story just kind of revolves around an older figure and a younger gentleman melding together with some specific tension that you can feel between the two characters. And the moral of it is to be interested in every aspect of your life, because you don't know when eventually you didn't get interested in this one thing and you think about it every single day, but maybe you've put it on the back burner, and needs to come back out.
Yeah.
So
I love
yeah,
that.
I love
I
that
love it.
too. Having to go into a helicopter when you're so young, and having that experience of seeing the world.
It
Not a
made
lot of
such
people.
an impression. I just couldn't believe it. Adam, you're so right. And all three of us probably are very curious because we need to be. We should be asking questions if we don't understand, which is really good thing to do it in class while you are going through elementary, junior high, everywhere, college, because we got to understand what the subject is, what we are learning. And then if we are not sure, let's get help from the fellow student, right? From peer, from like that, or the teacher after the class, ask them, I didn't really understand that, or ask parents, right? So the inquisitive, you just mentioned that, Adam, that is so true.
Those are all
I'm
great
very
ways.
curious.
Yes, those are
I
all
just-
fantastic ways to do that, because
Yeah, so
you
true.
put it out there that all these adults that are in your life, you have access to them. So
Yes.
and they may have the answer. May, of course,
Yeah.
have the answer to your questions.
Somebody's got the answer, right? And for us to be curious is so important. And I even right now, I've passed through many years, and I'm sure all of us, anything that I'm not sure about or I want to find out, I write it in my iPhone yellow pad, that
Yes.
when I go home, I'm going to search it on Google or on YouTube.
And go back down those rabbit holes we were talking about earlier, right?
It's very important to write things down too, because there's something about writing something down, like on a piece of
that
paper.
helps.
Yes.
It just really gets your mind cemented that this is a goal. And Adam, I was sharing with you a couple of weeks ago how I'm helping a young couple get back on their feet.
Yes.
And I'm working with them. They're doing very, very well.
It's good
and
to hear.
yeah, and they're building an additional income. And this may sound a little corny, but I held this up and I says, what I want you to do is write this down and set a time, because it's very, very important. Because if you do not set a time, it's as fruitless as saying, one of these days when I win the lottery. Well, you're not going to win the lottery, and one of these days is not on anybody's calendar. You have to set a goal that say, okay, December the 31st of 2024, the end of next year, I'm going to have these 4 words in my life executed. And I held this up.
Yes.
Get out
Wow.
of debt. Write it down. I says, and I, of course, I don't have a lot of debt or anything, but my point being is that things that I need to train my brain about, I write it down in little notes here, and I put them where I can see them. Like, I'm working on my computer. It's a small note, or if it's a little sticky note, you can stick it up at the top corner of your computer or anywhere, and where my mind can still look at it. Because every time I look at that,
you're describing the importance of reinforcement.
Yeah.
I'm training my
brains.
brain. I call it training my brain, because my brain needs a lot of training.
Reinforcement, definitely.
No, all of us do, Jim, you're so right. I mean, we talk in a bigger sense, affirmations. Affirmations are the things you want to accomplish already in present tense. You are accomplished it, right? In simple words.
Amen.
Simple words. And you could take 3x5 card. I would highly recommend everybody watching us, young and old, and many of us probably do that, is to put it just like, Jim just showed us in that piece of paper, get out of debt. It's so important, because that thing is going to keep on reminding us to get out of debt.
Yes,
And we'll start
yes.
subconsciously doing those things.
Yes.
Same thing happened with another card saying, I am good at school. I am good at getting B grade. If you're getting C, you change it to B, or from B to A. I'm good at getting A grades. I
Yeah.
want to utilize time wisely.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the things that we want to do. It's so important that the parents sit down with their children to kind of, create a daily or weekly schedule,
Yes.
which is very good. I
Yes.
learned that at a young age. I
Yeah.
mentioned it in last week's. My dad held a school at our home after dinner every night for 1 hour or 1.5 hour, where all the siblings had to do work, and no distractions. They have to do their homework and everything, plus study what teacher is teaching and going to teach tomorrow, next day.
Studying the
Yeah.
teacher. I've never heard
Yeah,
of that before.
even
Ah.
it was so interesting that
Wow.
we were able to understand the material better just because we were looking at the material that the teacher was going to teach the next day and the next day, and understanding was better then.
Yeah, yeah, it's better than flying in the blind. I'd like to share something that came to my mind, and I believe this is going to help some people out there in TV land.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use W. Clement Stone as an example because a friend of mine took it to a new level, which I'm going to share with you in just a moment. W. Clement Stone is well known
Yes.
for
Author.
being a co-author of,
Yes.
Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. He was friends with Napoleon Hill. They did the Success magazine, very successful insurance company. He bought an insurance company with using their money.
Yeah.
He really did. But my point being, he, at every one of his meetings, Emerson Brantley, one of our hosts here on the show, Emerson told me he was affiliated with W. Clement Stone, and every time he went to a meeting, first thing he did was get up and he said these three things with more emphasis. Now, I know you two guys probably know what it is because you've been here on the show and hear me talk, and you guys know who W. Clement Stone is.
Yep.
But for you folks out there in TV land, it was, I feel healthy, I feel happy, I feel terrific.
Terrific. Yes.
And the second time, I feel healthy, I feel happy, I feel terrific. Third time, more energy. I feel
Yes.
healthy, I feel happy, I feel terrific.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine who struggled with the morning grumps. He'd be grumpy when he got it was his nature. He actually put on pieces of paper and taped it to his mirror in his bathroom. I feel healthy. I feel happy. I feel terrific. And he'd look at that and he'd get charged up. He says, Jim, it really changed my life.
Yes. Yes.
Because
Yes.
he saw the words just as important as this was for those young kids. I let them pick the date. But he saw the words, it trained his brains, and with the motion, that's what impresses the subconscious mind. And therefore, you can start training your brain, and you can guide it anywhere you want to.
So true.
Anytime you
Yeah.
want to as well.
You're in control of your.
You're in control.
Your life is extremely linear. And everything that you do within those 24 hours of the day that Vinney was talking about, we only have these 24 hours and how important they are. And each individual part that you do matters to your growth and development as an individual, as well as either a future mentor or a future in influence. Especially in the world that we live in today, I see so many different stories of young people growing into millionaires and growing into people of interest and influence because they've stuck to it and they found their groove and in that management perspective of themselves. And each person I've ever looked at, I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but any one of these people, they all have one thing in common, and that is self-discipline.
Oh, yeah.
It's
And
so,
time
so
management,
detrimental.
self-discipline,
Yes,
time management, and prioritizing. If I may introduce another word
Sure.
right now, will be great, because time management comes by prioritizing the tasks.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
everybody's got so many things they want to do in a day. But by prioritizing, that's, I hope everybody's kind of watching. If we can have our children, our young people, old people prioritize their tasks based on urgency and importance. Stephen Covey, very good author, also talks about seven habits of highly effective people. Very good book. Then he wrote another book called Eighth Habit, because we are creatures of habit. What we do on a daily basis, it becomes routine. But what we should be doing is based on prioritizing the tasks. So if we are able to really sit down and look at, how to understand the difference between what we need to do immediately and what we can do later.
Oh, yeah.
What's
Yeah.
making big sense to do right now and what I can do later.
Yeah.
So those are really strong things for us to analyze where
Yeah.
we are spending time.
I know a lot of things we do nowadays is all digital.
Yeah.
But back when I was young and good looking, we did everything with paper,
Yes.
We had in boxes, out boxes, and I don't know what kind of a box that should go in. But one of the things that I remember an individual sharing that was very, very stressful for them, because they get their inbox in the morning and they'd see that pile of work. And this individual, he decided that he was going to just take the inbox, pull out the right front drawer of the desk, set all it in there. He prioritized it, what was priority, number one, number two, number three. He'd reach in there and pull out number one, shut the drawer, and that way it was out of sight and out of mind. He could focus on that one thing. He says, having that inbox up there and having it full, I kept thinking, I got to get this done. Oh, I see that pile there. It had a negative effect on him.
Yeah.
And so that fits right into what, we're sharing here about, and Vinney is sharing about being able to prioritize and just say, this first thing is numero uno. And then I like to recommend, as soon as you get number one done, treat yourself. Moments out and treat yourself. Say, thank you. I got that done. Hallelujah. Rejoice in that.
Yes.
And that's another great reinforcement of training your brain. And also it will help you look forward to managing your time, because either your time's going to manage you or you're going to manage your time.
Yeah, prioritizing healthy moments for yourself is super great.
Yeah.
Reward
really
yourself. Just like what you're saying, Jim. It's so great. We love to get rewarded. When somebody says good things to us, that's a reward. When we, get something from parents, they buy us something, or, pat on the back, we feel good, right? So it's good to really get into the system of rewarding yourself. Self-love, self-confidence, self-image. It's so important for all of us, young and old alike. Because if we feel good that we accomplished something and we say that, then our mind, our subconscious will even do more of that thing, by the way. So when we get rewarded, we tend to do more and more of the same thing again and again and feel good, because we love to get rewards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody likes scolding, right? Nobody likes to get hurt, or nobody likes to, feel that they were not given the time of the day or whatever. The other thing I wanted to bring right now is avoid procrastination.
Yeah.
That's the biggest
Let's
one
talk
here.
about that, because eliminate distractions is another thing where distractions come all the time.
I definitely got a story for this one.
Get done, but somebody takes us and they say, no, do this. Or procrastination is it's a killer of time. Today we are talking about time management. So procrastination is the biggest thing which can really put us in a disarray because we don't want to do the thing which is so important right now, but we postpone and postpone and postpone. Let's dig into that. Yeah.
So there's a person out there, and they are super intuitive with getting their work done.
Yeah.
However, this is their only focus. So every single day, this person would get home, put their keys up, and throw their dirty clothes into the laundry basket. Let's say a few days have passed, and that person now is still working very hard, diligently on their computer, and they look to the right. A young man looks to the right, and for some reason that pile just got bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, he decides, all right, I gotta go and do my laundry. And well, that day he tries to put all of it, and he can't fit it into the laundry room, and he can't fit anything into the laundry washer, and it's not working for him. I wanted to dissect that story a little bit, because if he would have decided earlier to do the smaller load, he would have been able to actually get his laundry done, which is something he needs to do as a person. We all have our laundry that we all have, depending on if it's dirty laundry or not. And I'm speaking figuratively here as well. So if people have some dirty laundry to air out, don't pile it up, because it does get stinky and messy.
Yep. One thing came to my mind as you were telling that story is that when my wife was, when she was visiting her mom out in Arizona or something like that, and, visiting her sister or go somewhere or whatever, I like to, first thing in the morning, after I get up, go to the bathroom, and then come back and make up the bed.
Yeah.
And it's done. And it doesn't take much time.
No.
And there's been a couple of times, and I hated it. I'd get up and, go to the restroom, then I'd go into the kitchen, get my water, put the coffee on and all that. And I walk back into the bedroom, and now the bed's not made. That's another chore now. And you punish yourself, and it takes much longer to get
energy.
it done. If you would have just jumped on it and done it, just do it.
Get it done. Just get it done.
Yeah.
And feel good about it.
Yeah.
Because now it's clean and system and everything. And then next day, if we do it again, right? Jim?
Yeah.
The subconscious says, "Oh, I like it."
There's
Third day, fourth day, sixth day, seventh day. Now it becomes a habit.
Yeah, and there's something about getting into a bed that's been made up that feels so much more comfortable than getting into one that's just been wallered out of, I mean, I don't know. At least that's
maybe
what it
it's
feels
a
to
look
me.
difference, or if it's it is
I
a
got
feel
no
difference.
idea, but I just says, hey, for what, 45 seconds work, I can make the bed, make it up.
Reminds
And
me of mothers taking care of their children whenever they're in younger, like infancy, and they're making their cradle up, and that baby is just so happy that they're able to rest in this nice built cradle by their mother.
yeah,
It's not, less crying.
I'd like to give a shout out to you moms out there, because I got to tip my hat to you, because you mothers, you are masters at managing time when it comes to your family, getting the kids up, getting them to school, taking care of all the little things. And you have one of the hardest jobs.
Yep.
They couldn't pay me to be a housewife.
So superheroes out there.
I mean,
sure.
they couldn't. I mean,
Superheroes, that's right.
well, if they did, they would fire me. Let me be honest about that.
We wouldn't be able to do the things that they are able to do. That's
No, they're wonderful women. They really are. They're amazing. And they're
Combaters
masters.
of procrastination.
Yeah, and they're masters at managing their time.
time. Totally.
Yeah. And they only got the same amount of time we do, Yeah.
Everybody's got the same 24 hours. It's how we use, how we do it.
Yes.
And I introduce another thing, which is a lot of us know about it, that many times certain activities in a day get us more results than others.
Yeah.
In the business world, We talk about 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
80-20 rule, what that means is that 20% of the activities, many times, where we get involved and we are concentrating and we are doing them regularly, they bring huge returns for us.
Yeah.
So, for example, in when we were going to school and all, doing the homework and learning and understanding the subject brought a lot of big results. So that's time management right there. Many time in the business world also,
Yes.
when we are able to time spend with the clients or customers, that brings about bigger returns than just doing mundane work in the
Yeah.
business or watching emails or listening. Please, Jim. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say that reminds me back in the 70s when people were talking about daylight savings time. See, that's a one size fits all. I'm not a fan of daylight savings times personally. I'm really not. And because the kids have to get up so early in the darkness, in the
Yeah.
morning. But there were several companies, and I don't know why this didn't just go, viral and catch on like wildfire, but there were several companies who used flex time.
Ah,
Flex time was a time when the core of the group would be there anywhere from 9 to 1 or 10 to 3. And, or 9 to 1, 10 to 2. That was the core time. And at that time, when the different departments or different people had to communicate, work together, get things done, there was focus during that time. And then the rest of the time, the people who were early birds, they could come in early and also meet the deadline there for the flex time core. And then when it's over, they could go home. And those that had other obligations or weren't morning people, they could come in later, fulfill the core time, and then finish their job up afterwards. And it worked beautiful. And I don't know why it didn't catch on, called flex time.
so true.
Well, I think it did, and there's a reason because I know a student, and they went to therapy and they have this the ADHD this disorder or whatever it's been called nowadays. And there's this thing in the school systems, if people don't know about this, and parents, this is a very important thing. It's called the 504 plan. And the 504 plan in school systems nowadays allows your child to get their homework. And we were talking about procrastination. This helps if you have a child that is procrastinating. It gives them this extra hour at the end of that class to do their homework. And it's a legal thing that teachers are allowed to do, as well as the schools allowed to do for that specific student. It's called the 504 plan. And it just gives them that little extra time to get that done, or little extra time to get the homework for the day. And I believe that some of those 504 plans even last a whole 24 hours, a whole day. That gives you this extra amount of time if you're seeing a little bit of struggling. And of course, that's a tool being used in the school systems nowadays to allow us. I mean, personally, I was on the 504 plan because I would get my homework done super late, and the ability to actually get it done a little bit later helped me a lot, and it boosts my grade up. And I saw performance.
Really good point.
Because it adhered to my mindset as a child back in middle school of, I don't need to get this done when I'm at home. I can just play video games all day. You try your best when you're a kid to have fun and enjoy the fun that you can have. But schooling is still important, and education is the number one thing that you should be focused on.
That's so good what you're saying, Adam. I think the big thing is we want to live life to the fullest at whatever age we are at. When we are young, we want to play, we want to study, we want to eat, we want to be respectful, we want to do a lot of things, right? Same thing when we grow, our priorities change a little bit, but we want to enjoy life. That's the real thing.
That's the ticket.
Are we happy? Are we contented? That's something which a lot of time we could talk about it right now. you
Yeah.
know, young people, as they are going through schooling and they see other people wearing clothes and more fashions, or, you know, driving different cars and whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So many times the mind starts doing some numbers on us and say, why not me?
Right.
You know, why not my parents,
Uh,
this and
Yeah.
that and everything. So I think it'll be good for us to take a little bit time in time management, in self, you know, we did the self, what was
the
the last week?
positive
Yeah.
mental talking,
Positiveness and all. It's
Self
so
awareness.
important. Yeah,
self-awareness.
self-worth and also self discipline.
Yeah.
It's how we trained our mind. It's so important at every
Yeah.
age. When we are born, we have no fear. But as we grow older and older and older, we start seeing negatives, and we start seeing imposition of a lot of people expectations on us.
Well,
You
and
know?
this is
Yeah.
part of biology too, because the excuse me, the body actually listens to itself all the time,
Oh yeah.
subconsciously. And in biology, these white blood cells in our body are always looking for foreign particles or foreign bacteria that are in our body to help us keep us healthy, and that's how they exist in our world. Well, if we are exactly that, a white blood cell, and we look at someone else who's prettier or better or something, some kind of foreign, difference that's not the same as we are, we tend to immediately go to this negative, like, oh, well, I want that better than, or you try to change and or go after that. And it's a subconscious, like, physical thing that happens in our brains that we can't necessarily control all the time without proper training and getting our positive mental attitude going and finding that. But it's an innate initial impulsive reaction to, let's say, a celebrity, right? And someone who's talking to a celebrity who doesn't just, oh, you're just a person, oh no, you've done all this, and oh my god, I'm your biggest fan, like I wish I was this, and I wish I was that. That's wishful thinking,
Oh, yeah.
rather than what we've been talking about, which is impactful, like, action.
So good.
Reality.
To do.
Reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reality. We got to live in the reality. Of course, we want to expect more of the positives. Like, I'm so glad you brought up, Adam, PMA. PMA,
Oh, it's such a
positive
big thing in my
mental
life, for sure.
attitude.
Oh yeah.
It's so important, so
Oh.
important, because
You
you
know-
can accomplish your time management tasks. You can be writing down your goals, like Jim was talking. That positive mental attitude is so important, because if we think through, I know at a younger age you can't really know how much negativism is out there.
But what's
But
good and what's
as
bad,
we
'cause you're
grow
still learning
older
that.
and older, we see so much is negative around us. And for us to really stay the course of our life and to really become a better person, we need to throw away the negative somehow, to avoid, and also consciously strive to keep it out. And you will be surprised how your peers will love you, because a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
times negative people bring a lot of people negative, but it doesn't go anywhere. But if
There's
you
a
are the
saying out
positive
there:
ray of hope and light, they would like that, huh?
misery
Oh,
loves
yeah.
company.
And on that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Misery
Yeah.
loves company. I think that's the quote there.
It's kind of like what I'm laughing about, ladies and gentlemen. Zig Ziglar was on stage,
Yes.
and I loved him. He was a character. He was
too.
he
Me
was
too.
a down to earth country boy. He is a
Yep.
great example for you speakers out there, how to communicate to your audience without trying to impress them with big fancy words. They want to be communicated with at the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade level. And he says, when you meet someone that's very negative, and they're complaining. And they'll complain to you, and they'll complain to this person over here, and those people back there, and anybody that you give them 2 minutes, they want to complain. Don't you dare solve their problem, because you're going to make them mad. He said, because they won't be able to go around and complain to anybody anymore. And he says, the point being is that if everyone would avoid the negative complainer in their life, the negative complainer would not have anyone to complain to. And that is so important because, and he used the street light as an example. He says, why, in the street light out there at night, that's where all the bugs gather. They're searching for light. And we can be a light in other people's lives. And if you're struggling out there and you feel like you're pushing a chain uphill, all you have to do is have a positive mental attitude. I know that sounds a little tough, but just go out there on faith.
Even if it's far-fetched.
And ask and share what you're wanting to accomplish with others. People love to help you. In fact, people love to give you their opinions. So when you're asking for opinions and advice, make sure that you're going to a source that is worthy of your time to listen to. That's critical.
Amen.
And I'll tell you a secret. If someone says, hey, Jim, why don't you go and talk to this person here or go do this? Okay, thank you very much. And I go and it doesn't work out. What is the normal response?
You told, you.
Yeah. And you won't go back. And go back and report to the person, listen, thank you so much for referring me to that individual or telling me what to do. This is what I tried, and I just wanted to, see if I did not do something right, or, just wanted to bring you up to date and let you know I did not just blow it off. And I thank you for it. Be thankful. What will normally happen, they will feel obligated now to take it up another notch because you've invested your time to follow their advice. That shows deep respect.
Yes.
When you demonstrate you respect someone, they're going to return that flavor. Notice I didn't say favor, I said flavor, because you're going to like the way it's going to taste. And many times that turns a disadvantage into a huge advantage. And that might just be the combination that you need on that lock that you're struggling with all those numbers in a circle, and you're going like, I don't know where to stop at. I don't hear no clicking noise, That can be the combination you're looking for. Go ahead.
Stopping all of what you're doing too and taking a step back. My family and I, we call it taking a knee when you need to, is so
taking a knee. I like that.
detrimental in your development and growth, because it can be overwhelming. It can be. And it will be. And when it does become overwhelming, it is great to just take that knee, reflect, and, even if we're talking about goals, reflect on those goals and reflect on what you have to do for yourself as well as for your family. Because those are the two most important things, you and your family. Like, got to protect number one, but your number one should always be family. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So there's that difference between the reality and that fictional thought process that you may want something, but what you need maybe to just take a second and focus on what you actually need.
Yeah, I like what you said there about putting value on the things that money cannot buy.
So true.
That's precious.
So true. Very, very true. Very true. A lot of times we feel that the things which are most important to us at any age are the material things. That's not true. That's not true at all. And the sooner we realize that at a young age, as we grow older, you'll be a much better person.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls, the thing is, if the relationship, what you're saying, Adam, is so, the relationships are very, very important. I think it's about time to wrap up.
Sounds about like that.
Well, I don't know what happened there, but Dixie, what did you do? I got my kitty in here, and she's always doing something around here. So anyway, that just kind of that's our theme song.
What a great topic! got a
Oh,
lot out
yeah.
of it. Today we talked about time management.
Oh,
Last week
yes.
we talked about
Perseverance,
Oh,
self,
yeah.
self-discipline. Those
Yeah.
two things are
positive mental
so
attitude.
important to really start building the foundation
Mm-hmm.
of a great life. Actually, those are
Oh,
the
yeah.
life pillars that we
Oh,
are
yeah.
discussing. And I'm sure next week we're going to be discussing a great topic again.
Oh, yeah. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Vinney gave us a list of about 50 items because I met him one time here on this show here on Ideas Worth Knowing, and that Emerson and Mike host. And we just, I just knew he was just a go-to guy that me and him were going to hit it off. We're going to do some things together. And he's going to be involved with me. He doesn't know this yet, but don't let him know that I told you folks out there in TV land. But he's going to be involved in the travel show that I'm doing, and we're going to work together on that because that is a worthy project for many, many people. And that's one of the things that you do in life. If you share your blessings, life's like a potluck. Everybody brings their specialty to the dinner, and everybody shares, and everybody's well fed, and everybody's appreciative. And there's always plenty left over. That's the beauty in it. Yeah. So your focus in life, as we wrap the show up, look for ways to be a blessing to others. Everybody wants to be blessed. Well, the farmer wants corn, right? Does a farmer sit there and wish for corn? He goes out there and he plants. He works that field. He works that soil. He drives that tractor, whatever it takes. Because the farmer is willing to invest in his time, manage his time, so he can have corn. So if you want to be blessed in life, you look for ways that you can bless others. Yes. And the blessing will come back to you because you will get exactly. Life is like a mirror. This is like a mirror at your house. When you walk up and look in the mirror, what you see is really you. And what you transmit out there can be good or bad, but it's going to come back to you. Focus on being a blessing to others. And on behalf of Adam and Vinney and myself, we want to sincerely thank you folks for tuning in today. And for you folks out there in TV land, it is our hope and our prayer that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. And no matter what's going on in your life, give thanks and keep the faith, because where you are right now is the perfect place for you, regardless of what you're going through, because it's not the place where you're going to wind up. It's part of the journey that will help you become the real you that you were created to be.
So true.
We'll see you next time, and next Wednesday.
Time.
Vinny's going to be with us again, and
Yes.
Adam will be here, and hopefully I'll be here, and hopefully Dixie won't goof up and hit the music again. I guess that's what happened. I don't know. Anyway,
one last thing.
Yeah.
You are
Go ahead.
worthy. You are valuable, and so is your family.
Amen.
So true. So true. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Vinny.